just so you all know, I wear black every day, pretty much, um, because I just like the way I look in it, and it's a nice color. And I used to kind of be a bit of a punky goth, so you know, old habits die hard. Another thing I really wanted to talk about was like role models, and like this whole thing I've realized is more about like what I could have said to my younger self than just about 23-year-old Summer. Um, but if it strikes a chord with anybody, that's really cool too. Like, that's really awesome. But I also think a huge part of coming to accept myself was in um, controlling my own media exposure. Because when I decided that I was not going to, I wasn't going to buy in to like mainstream white media. I didn't want to look at like airbrushed magazine covers anymore. It just like wasn't doing it for me. Um, my whole perspective just shifted on what normal was, what attractive was, and like who I was trying to identify myself with. And that's really interesting that as like a grown ass person, you can train your mind to do that. And obviously, shout outs to Tumblr. I think that's been like the best for me. I started seeking out um, different examples of women being portrayed as attractive with a diversity of body types. And initially, that started out with um, like a plus size model type thing, and I would just follow a lot of curvy fashion blogs. I still do, love that. Um, and I was like, oh, okay, like this is what I can look like. And then with time, kind of intentionally cutting out a lot of white models, let's be honest, and just focusing on a diversity of women of color being portrayed as attractive, as stylish, as desirable. And I was like, yes, this is what I want. And then even going a little bit further than that and um, diverting from simply just like this hourglass figure that's idealized and saying, like, okay, let's look at people with um, non conventionally attractive bodies. Which it's not to say that like those bodies are not attractive, they are, but they're not really the body types. Even when you see like, like love your body at any size, it's like a lot of the same bodies, just like a little larger. And so I was like, all right, let me look at completely different images. Let me look at completely different portrayals, and how does that change my perspective? And it was cool. It was really cool, like seeing different bodies, um, seeing bodies that were uh, just very, very different from what I've been exposed to. Seeing them in contexts where they were not only um, sort of styled very nicely and photographed beautifully, but they were also sexualized. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, wait, that's another part of our lives as well, isn't it? And so um, I still go back to a lot of those like plus size curvy models because I like fashion, and those are often the models that we see. And I also, I guess, like in all honesty, like I do identify myself with that aesthetic a little bit more because I'm cool and stuff, but like I'm not that edgy. So if I want to look at clothes that I'm probably gonna buy, I'm gonna go to more mainstream like clothing outlets, like H&M, ASOS, Forever 21, and those are the portrayals that I'd see because that's probably what I'm gonna be going for as well. Like that's my aesthetic too. So that's a huge thing. And also, now when I think of role models and I think of mentors, um, it's also broadened my perspectives. And I could talk about academic mentors forever because I love them. and it's been such a huge part of like of my life. I mean, like I love these women. They're amazing and I just want to have their careers, and like I've told them how much I love them. I'm obsessed with them. So I'm not going to do that right now cuz I don't want to embarrass them. But you know, when I kind of look at like role models as well, like I'm trying to be like Mindy Kaling. Not only because she's like gorgeous, but because she is so funny and we have like similar humor. And she's intelligent. She writes, produces, directs, and acts in her own show. Um, that's who I want to be like. Not only in terms of just identifying with her style, which I think is really cool too. Like, I love her Instagram and things like that, but also just like everything else about her is really awesome too. MIA, I mean, her music is really cool, and she's had like some limited mainstream success because, you know, whatever sells, right? But at the same time, like her message has stayed super strong the whole time. Like she has her politics, and it's not really my position necessarily to like agree 100% with everything she says, but the fact that she's been so steadfast about it, um, and just calling people out left, right, and center, that inspires me. That's a role model. And she's really, really stylish. Like that helps too, in terms of being like a style role model. And I don't know. I look to people like fashion bloggers like Nadia Abul Hassan because I've seen her. I followed her like on Tumblr and stuff like throughout the years in the time that she's like cultivated her style from like thrift shop styling to now actually like being kind of a big shot, being like this designer and getting a lot of mainstream success in magazines and things like that. And I also think that she's really cool and really outspoken and more than just looking pretty on the, you know, pages of a magazine. I like what she has to say. So those are also women that I look up to. Again, specifically choosing women of color. Um, my politics are very much focused on a non-Western like angle, and that goes into just like deeper politics and stuff like that. But specifically South Asian women, specifically also Middle Eastern women, because that's where I grew up. That's what my background is, and that's, you know, and you know, let's be honest, like there's not very many examples of that. So when I see them, I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to. That's what I want to be a part of. I want to be part of that movement. And there are like beautiful, of course, like, you know, Bollywood actresses, and you know, I'd love to look like Kareena Kapoor, and maybe I kind of do a little bit. I don't know, Priyanka Chopra, like all these women. Um, but also that's like a little, that's not me necessarily. Um, I'm not that like, not that glam. And then there's so many beautiful Arab women. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. And like Persian women are really beautiful too. Like I watched this show, Shots of Sunset, and it's really good. And like Asa is my style icon for real. But you know, it's also taken me a lot of time and effort to cultivate that. Like these are the women that I want to look like. These are the women that I want to style myself like. And if you are from like a non-mainstream, you know, ethnic group, you have to look a lot harder for those examples. And I mean, I guess like I don't have to necessarily look at like Western media, but then again, English is my primary language and stuff. So that's the media that I'm usually going to be exposing myself to. But yeah. And then going like to other examples of role models can also be men, of course, doesn't have to simply be women. And I look to a lot of comedy because I'm like a comedy nerd and that's what I adore. So I look at people like Hari Kondabolu, who I think is like the funniest. And like if I was ever to be a comedian, which is like kind of a secret dream of mine, I want to be like him because he's so funny and like says like real shit. And it's incredibly like just so clever about it. It's really awesome. And then I also see people like, you know, Aziz Ansari, Kumail Nanjiani. Um, and I'm like, yeah, do your thing, dude. Like, I think they're a little bit like, I don't want to say self hating because I don't know them like that, but at the same time, like, be more, like, own your brownness a little bit more. There's people like, you know, Himanshu Suri, who I feel like is hella cool. And, like, I've met him and he's really nice too. He was nice to me at least that one time. I don't know about, like, the rest of his life. Um, and I'm like, yeah, he has really cool style too, actually. And then I see people like Nicki Minaj, who is awesome and so smart. That's what I love. Like, I just love really intelligent and like fascinating people. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. And I was watching this like Kanye West interview the other day, and I think it actually changed my life. I want to be like Kanye. And I don't just mean that in like the level of superstardom. I don't think I'd ever actually want to do that. But I just mean that every single goal that he has achieved, he had explicitly laid out for himself, um, 10, 15 years ago. And to see him achieve that now is really cool because it's like he's been so intentional about his success and so intentional about his career and just really, really just really intelligent. And I think it's sad because like now I don't know if he's happy anymore, but I want to be like Kanye. And like, of course, like people like Beyonce and stuff, they're cool too. But what I'm really talking, and she's really intelligent. She's the way that she's crafted her career. Why am I just talking about these entertainers? I don't know. Because they're intelligent, and because they do come up in mainstream media. That's what I was talking about. I was talking about me. I was talking about mainstream media exposure. But then again, you see women like Amal Alamuddin, who is George Clooney's wife, Amal Clooney, whatever. And like she is a boss. I so want to be her. Mm. But then one day, like, I want to have my name up there too. Not necessarily because I want to be, I don't know, the funniest, most fashionable person ever, although that would be cool. But like, I want somebody to be like, yeah, I like the way she thinks. I like the way she's crafted her whole persona. Hmm. Oh, other cool Pakistani women. Fatma Bhutto. I really have enjoyed her work, reading it. Kamala Shamsi. Love her work. She's an author. Yeah, there's a lot of cool Pakistani women actually that I look up to as intellectual heroes. Chandra Mohanty. How could I honestly make a video? How could I like have this whole project and not have mentioned her so far? Gosh, she's like such a huge hero of mine. I want to be her one day.